As someone who used to care a lot about what other people thought, I know how painful it is to live that way. You basically live with constant worry and anxiety, and you feel like your life isn't even yours because you feel like the way you live your life is being dictated by others. Now, because this is an obviously very common problem, I wanted to make a video addressing number one, the 3 main reasons that we care so much what other people think, as well as 7 solutions so we can stop caring so much about what people think and finally start living. But before we get there, if you're new here, my name is Jorge Calaos. I'm a business lawyer based in Florida, specializing in high-stakes lawsuits, and in this channel we explore the principles and the strategies to help us live more productive, meaningful, and fulfilling lives. Now let's get to the 3 biggest causes why we care so much what other people think. Cause number 1 is our biology. While humans today live in organized civilization, for the majority of Homo sapiens' existence, we did not live in organized civilization. Instead, we lived in what you can call the jungle, and in the jungle, you needed a tribe to survive. If you were not part of a tribe, you had no chance against, let's say, the lion, and you were going to die. And so our brains are deeply wired to want to be part of a tribe and to want to belong. And not only that, but we believe that if we get kicked out of the tribe, that means that we are going to die. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you can understand why we care so much about what people think of us. We are wired to want to be accepted by other people for survival. Now, when we understand this and we understand that this is a major reason why we care so much about what other people think about us, we can start to see it for what it is, and we can start to create some distance between that compulsion and how we want to react. Once we understand that what we're seeking when we are seeking the approval of other people and when we are caring about what other people think, once we understand that when we are doing that, we are seeking psychological and even biological safety, we can try to override that response by saying, you know what, I'm still gonna survive. I'm still gonna live in this freaking air-conditioned house. I can still go to my local grocery store and buy food and survive. It's going to be okay if some people don't like me. Looking at it from that perspective really helps override that natural impulse that we have to really care about what other people think of us. The second reason why we may care so much what people think of us is because of past experiences. So for example, if you were raised in a home where you were expected to behave a certain way, or expected to get certain grades, or expected to excel in sports, and you did all these things even though you didn't really want to do a lot of them, but you did them anyways, you train yourself to do things based on what other people want of you instead of what you want for you. And when you're wired this way, of course you're going to constantly be worrying about and caring about what other people think of you because it's your barometer for how to act. But that is nothing more than a habit and a way of living, and it is something that you can also override. And the third reason is simply social proof bias. Social proof bias is one of the many biases that our brains are susceptible to, and the social proof bias basically says that if a bunch of other people are doing something, then it must be the right way to go. Why? Because it's socially proofed. And so you'll see experiments where they'll have, one person standing at a corner on the street looking up at the sky, and people kind of just walk by, but then you put 10 people looking up at the sky, and even though there's nothing in the sky, everybody that walks down that corner all of a sudden stands next to them and starts looking up at the sky, looking at nothing. Why? Because 10 people are doing it, so they just assume because of the social proof that there is something in the sky, and so they stop and they turn to look at the sky. Another reason that this is so powerful is because if everybody is going this way, then it's safer, at least from a psychological ego perspective, to also go that way. Because if we go the way that everybody is going and we fail, at least we failed with everybody else. But if we go our own way and we fail, then we're a little bit more embarrassed. And just as with the first 2 causes, once we understand the social proof bias, it's easier for us to override it. Now let's go through the 7 solutions that you can implement to stop caring what other people think. The first is to rewire your psychology. There's 2 main ways to do this. The first is simply to understand as much as you can about how your psychology works. The second is to do things that challenge your psychology and to move in the face of fear. So one thing that I heard one time that I think is very funny to train your mind to not care so much about what people think is to go into a hair salon or some store, just walk in, say hello to whoever's behind the counter, drop down, do 20 push-ups, take a bow, and walk out. Now you might think that's weird, but it's not causing anybody harm. The person behind the register is probably just going to have a good laugh. It's probably going to give that person a sense of, surprise in a life that has probably been monotonous, at least for that day, because we usually tend to engage in the same monotonous patterns throughout the day. And if something snaps us out of that, we kind of tend to appreciate it. But not only does it not cause anybody harm, but when you do that and then you walk out and you realize that you did something incredibly weird, but then you also realize, hey, I survived, then you start to understand that even if you get negative reactions from other people, you're still going to survive. And so you might not want to, drop and give somebody 20, but you might want to do the things that you've been wanting to do for a while. Maybe you've wanted to start that business, maybe you've wanted to film that piece of content, and then you put it out there, and then you're nervous and you're afraid, and then you realize that nothing happened and you survived, and your brain starts to rewire itself to understand, okay, I'm going to be fine. I don't have to constantly be scanning my environment and constantly be worrying about what other people think in order to survive. The second solution is to understand that most people aren't thinking about you. Most people are thinking about themselves and their problems, and they're probably thinking about what you think of them. There's this really interesting phenomenon called the spotlight effect, and basically they did a study where they had somebody go into, I think it was a classroom, wearing a really wacky shirt, and then they had walked out, and then they were asked, how many people do you think noticed your wacky shirt? And the people that were wearing the wacky shirt thought that everybody noticed their wacky shirt because it was just so wacky. And the reality is that only a very small percentage of people noticed the wacky shirt. And so psychologists coined this phenomenon, the spotlight effect, because we all feel like there's a spotlight on us. We feel like everybody's constantly watching us, when in reality, everybody else feels like everybody's constantly watching them. And so if you can understand that people aren't as worried about you, nearly as worried about you as you think, then you can kind of start to let go and let loose and live more freely. The third solution is to understand that you cannot please everybody. I promise you, no matter what you do, you cannot please everybody. There will always be somebody that disagrees with you, and there will also always be somebody that agrees with you. You can take the most ridiculous position, and I promise you that one of the 7 billion people on this planet will say, you know what? I agree with that. And so the point is that no matter what you do, you will always have people that agree with you, and you will always have people that disagree with you, and it is what it is. So you might as well just be who you want to be and say the things that you want to say, and that way you attract the people that are right for you and you repel the people that are wrong for you. The fourth solution is to remove judgmental people from your life. Now, this one can be a bit tricky because let's say that the judgmental person is your parent. Well, you can edit the relationship with your parent where you can still have some form of relationship with them, but you don't give them that much access because you know they're going to come with judgmental energy. And oftentimes that actually makes them realize, maybe I should change the energy that I come at my kids with, and then they start to, change their behavior. But even if they don't, just because you can't totally remove somebody from your life, and maybe you can, but if you feel like you can't, you can still edit the relationship with them so that their judgment and their negativity doesn't affect you as much. But when it comes to people that you can remove from your life, definitely remove negative people and judgmental people, because they are the ones that are going to make you care the most about what other people think. Because number one, they care a lot about what other people think. That's why they're being judgmental, and so that's going to rub off on you. And number two, their negativity is going to bring you down and bring you to a lower level where you are going to care what other people think because you are not your best self. And so removing the negativity and removing the judgment from your life is one of the best ways that you can stop caring about what other people think, or at least give yourself the room to stop caring about what other people think. The fifth solution kind of goes with the fourth solution, which is to focus on your close, true friends. The fact of the matter is that you can't not care about what anybody thinks. We are social creatures, and so we are going to care about what some people think, but we get to choose whose opinions we care about. And so if we surround ourselves with people that are good, positive, intelligent, kind, understand as well, are good to us, and we make that friend circle, a diverse one with different ideas so that we're not just getting yes men, then we can create an environment that is empowering and uplifts us and helps us shut out the noise so we don't care about what those other people think, but at the same time is still challenging us to be the best version version of ourselves that we can be. The sixth solution is to curate your social media feed. Now, this one's similar to removing the negativity and the judgment from your life. If you're following people whose content makes you feel bad about yourself, whose content makes you feel like you are not good enough, stop following those people. If you don't want to unfollow those people because you think it might create some sort of drama in whatever environment you're in, you can mute those people so you don't see their stories or their posts. We spend so much of our time on our phones that so much of the stimuli and so much of the reference points that we get about how we should live our life and how we should feel about what we're doing is derived from what we see on the phone. And so curating your social media feed and making sure that you're following positive people and encouraging people and content that is empowering you instead of disempowering you and judging you and making you feel bad, that is one of the best things that you can do to uplift yourself and to give yourself the ability, give yourself the room to stop caring about what other people think. And the seventh solution is to just learn more about psychology. The more you understand about why you care about certain things, the more you understand what your triggers are, the more you understand why you're attracted to certain situations, the more you understand how you work and how you operate and why you think the way you think and why you do the things that you do, the more you understand yourself and your own psychology, the better that you're going to be at overriding the negative biases that our minds naturally have. Now, if you like this video, I think you'll also like this video right here on how to say no without feeling guilty. And as always, if you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it, make sure to subscribe, join the community, leave me a comment letting me know what you liked and what you want to see more of. It helps me create more videos. And if you want even more resources, check out the link in the description box below where you can go to my website and you can download your free copy of the 4-Step Morning Routine, a quick start guide to high performance and peace of mind. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.